What's up, everybody? I'm Paris, and this is Keep It Social. And today we're talking about Twitch, which you may know as a gaming platform, but it's also home to the music, cooking shows, even the teachers like it, all kinds of stuff. So to talk about Twitch with me today is my co-host, Terrence. Hey, Terrence, how are you?
I'm well. How are you today, Paris?
I'm doing well. And we have with us today Bijan Stephen, who is a reporter for The Verge and a Twitch streamer himself. What's up, Bijan? How are you?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing all right, living, laughing, and loving in Brooklyn, New York.
I love it. They should put that on one of those wooden signs. You can hang it in your kitchen.
For sure, yeah.
So Bijan, the thing that gets me about this is great, Twitch is off the charts, right? It grew, its platform grew exponentially since the pandemic with everyone staying at home and online. But are the gamers okay with this platform kind of being taken over by all these other people?
I mean, I'd like to think so. I think I haven't seen any indication to the contrary in my own reporting. I think it's obviously just like a lot of other places online, it's a marketplace of attention. But I also think because so many new people have started joining the platform, a lot of people's audiences just started rising also. So I think there's the lesson is there's more than enough room for everybody who wants to do anything on Twitch.
So with that being said, for me, I get excited about about Twitch evolving and expanding, right? I'm also not a gamer. I'm also not a Twitcher.
Great.
Me neither.
Love to hear it.
But, I'm thinking about what will happen with YouTube. YouTube was this very exciting place and it became super saturated. And I'm wondering if the same will happen for Twitch, or is it because of the different content that's on Twitch, if that necessarily won't be the case,
I think, I do think Twitch is even though it's smaller than YouTube by orders of magnitude, I cannot overstate how much smaller Twitch is than YouTube. I don't see it necessarily becoming saturated, only because I don't know if you have tried live streaming yourself, but it is actually technically quite complicated, and it really does, the bar to entry is a lot higher than it is, I think, on YouTube, where you can actually sort of, set up, record, and edit. And I don't necessarily see it getting more saturated, but I do think I do think the influx of people is a good thing. And I think it just, I don't know. I think I certainly think that Twitch is a much more vibrant and exciting site, especially since the pandemic began, because again, society moved online, and now obviously Twitch is one of the better places to do anything online, anything social online rather, because it is built for real-time interactions. And, it's the whole point is that you are sort of hanging out with someone. So I don't see it getting saturated, but I do think it's the perfect place for all of this stuff.
I feel like the world of gaming is so niche in so many ways, right? And it's everyone knows the ins and outs of whatever games they're watching, whether it's Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever you have. When it comes to okay, we're watching someone cook or we're watching someone teach, the vibe is so much different. So I guess I wonder, how has Twitch been able to accommodate those other kind of genres and those other audiences?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think basically, so the thing here is that you have to remember is that Twitch is an incredibly individual place. Every channel has its own feel, it has its own audience, and those audiences sometimes overlap, but they're very distinct. So I think the feel of a cooking show is necessarily going to attract different people than somebody who's there to watch hardcore Fortnite gameplay, right? And there's infinite gradations in between. I'm sure there's somebody who's playing Fortnite while cooking. That's got to be a thing, right? But
intersectionality.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's because there are so many different Twitch channels and they all have totally different vibes. I do think that it's nice to see new audiences, because the other thing I think the pandemic has sort of necessitated, along with Twitch's growth, is that all of these people are bringing audiences that they had off platform onto the platform, and so people are creating their own spaces for themselves, is what I'm trying to say, and I think it's super interesting. But yeah, gaming is kind of niche. I mean, it was always extremely popular on Twitch. That's sort of the backbone of the site. And it was, to the point where it's it's called Twitch because it refers to Twitch gaming.
Wait, what is Twitch gaming?
It's twitchy, aiming gaming. And it's because Justin.tv, its predecessor, was a live streaming site where you could stream whatever. A lot of people were like live streaming themselves. Gaming got so popular that Twitch was spun out into its own separate site. Excuse me. And it's become what it is today, you know, in that sort of shadow. However, I mean, I gotta say, like, some of my favorite stuff to watch on Twitch is just not gaming. Like, I recently talked to a fellow Vox Media person who wrote a piece for The Strategist, which is titled "The Best Non-Gaming Twitch Channels According to Twitch Streamers." So, like, you know, like one of my favorite channels to watch is this guy Mikey, who I've written about before. He's a bike messenger, so like he like delivers for Uber Eats and just live streams himself doing that. And it's actually,
check that out.
it's just incredible because he's very nice. His chat is very nice, but like he's out there in the world, and it like, because, you know, I feel like I'm sort of stuck inside. It's really nice to see like the rest of New York City, which normally I would be, you know, sort of hanging out or in and around. And especially for like seeing it from by bike, it's like really, it's this like weird experience, this weirdly pleasant experience that I don't think you could find anywhere else. Like it's, but there's also, you know, obviously a lot of other channels that do things that aren't that also aren't gaming. But I think it's nice as an example of like just the breadth of stuff you can do on Twitch.
I think for me, I've always kind of tussled with the idea of why people were so obsessed with Twitch. I mean, just because I personally have never really just liked watching people play games or cook or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like that's never been something that I liked. But then I considered what you just said, which is the fact that in this moment when it's so hard to do normal things, to go out and have, you know, regular activities, this app, Twitch, allows you to connect with people, even though it's virtual, right? It allows you to somewhat have a pal and connect and, you know, just share that experience, right? And although you can go live on Facebook and Instagram and those things, it's not really the same. Twitch seems to allow you to share in an experience together that sets itself apart from those platforms, right? So I understand now why Twitch has the reach and the influence that it does.
Yeah, I think it's definitely designed, like the culture of the site and the culture of live streaming itself is sort of designed so that you talk to the people who are watching you, and it's like designed so it feels like you're hanging out with somebody. And I think it was a little hard for me to grasp the appeal also until I started like finding streamers who were just people I liked, and like some of them obviously happened to just be my friends, and I was like, oh, this, like, it's actually fun to watch you do stuff because I know you IRL. But like it's one of those things where it's kind of like, it's not actually about the streamer so much as it is about the community that springs up around the streamer and the community that the streamer cultivates, because like the people aren't necessarily there to like see you do stuff. They're there to like hang out with each other, and it's like, I think it's more fruitful to consider, you know, the Twitch streamers are like just creating a space for their audiences to hang out. Like that's the function, you know, like they're sort of not even really like the point.
Well, now Terrence and I have to create a Twitch so we can come hang out with you.
I mean, you should try it. I do think everyone should try live streaming at least once, just because it's like, it's this weird thing that's difficult but also incredibly satisfying. Like when you're like, I don't know, what do you do for fun? What do you guys do for fun? What's your pastime?
Watching TV.
Okay. Well, you can't do that on Twitch because you get copyright struck. But
nobody wants to watch me watching TV. That seems really counterintuitive.
I mean, look, the thing is, frankly, you don't know that.
That's true.
There are like, you can do watch parties with Amazon Prime or whatever. Like there's like, they let you do it in specific ways. Anyway, please.
Well, you know, for me, I love to sing. I actually went to undergrad. I received a vocal scholarship to go sing, so I love to sing. Now, the question is, will I sing live on Twitch?
It's kind of a shame. Twitch just sunsetted, or they're sunsetting Twitch Sings, which is their like karaoke thing. So if you want to get on there and sing before January, there's a whole category. There are songs with like that are just backing tracks, and people love. I mean, people search that tag all the time. They really love that specific feature.
Well, Terrence, I know at least 2 people who would be watching you sing. So, for what it's worth.
There you go.
This is community.
Well, speaking of community, thanks to everyone out there who's been watching. And Bijan, thank you so much for joining us to talk about Twitch.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. I love yelling about Twitch. It's my job.
And that's it for us. For all of you watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to all our social channels and let us know what you'd like to see on the show. We'll see you next time. And until then, Terrence, what should they do?
Keep it social.